Hello people, today I'm going to apply some makeup in a relaxed environment because I need some help with my mental health, and I think makeup is a good way to make myself feel better, to cheer me up, because things have happened lately that I suppose, struggling with. So I thought it was time to get back to makeup and hopefully get back into the groove of things and start to feel a little better. I usually do my foundation off camera, but today I thought I would try a new foundation. This is the YSL All Hours foundation. This is a new to me foundation. This one is in the shade MN9. I had another one from YSL. I had the Touche Éclat foundation, and honestly I didn't like that one. I prefer the Tom Ford, the Valentino, even the Gucci foundation over that one. So I thought maybe this one, this All Hours foundation, this could be a new favorite, hopefully. It does have good reviews online, so let's just smack it on and see. I want to try this without a primer because I don't want a very good primer to unfairly skew the results in the favor of the foundation. I want to give it a fair chance. So I just have a moisturizer on my skin right now and no primer. I feel like the shade match is pretty good. Lately I've gotten good at picking out a good shade for myself, which is amazing. These stupid earrings won't stay in, so that's a good start. I have very dry skin, so I usually don't end up powdering my foundations. But some, like the Gucci foundation, are very dry on me even without any powder. I think this is a nice medium coverage. So far, I like what I'm seeing. The color match seems pretty spot on. I used the foundation match chart between the various foundation formulas for YSL, so the shade that I had in Touche Éclat, I just got the equivalent for that one in this foundation, and it seems to be a very good match. It might seem a little paler on camera, but these foundations usually oxidize a little bit, almost always, so I hope it doesn't oxidize too much. But so far it's looking pretty good. Let's do the eyebrows. I think I always do this off camera as well, because I'm not much of an eyebrow person. I have a very simple eyebrow routine. I just fill in just a little bit, and that's pretty much that. And I just lock everything in with the Patrick Ta brow gel. That was actually a very good recommendation that I got from YouTubers online. Has anyone ever noticed how art really helps with mental health? Any kind of art, any kind of creative process really is very soothing and calming. At least for me, always has been. Some more than others. I used to draw and paint, and then I would get in sort of a loop of perfectionism. And that actually kind of stressed me out a little bit, but you have to find the right thing for you, so makeup is definitely the right way of expressing for me. I used to be into fashion, but that is a story for another time. I kind of lost interest after certain things happened when I was a teenager. I will be talking about that in another video. That is going to be interesting. Okay, the brows are looking acceptable. I'm going to lock them in. I am not enjoying the foundation lips, so I'm going to try a new lipstick, new to me lipstick from Pat McGrath. This is the Satin Allure lipstick in Boudoir Bloom. It looked very pink online in the pictures, and as is usual with Pat McGrath, it turns out to be a completely different color in person. It's like a very dull kind of mauve color. Let's see what it looks like on the lips. It still might be different. Okay, so it is a cool toned pink. It pulls a little bit warmer on camera for some reason, but in real life it's like a mauvey pink kind of color. I actually have all the colors I like from the Pat McGrath's matte trans line, but the satin ones, the formula is absolutely lovely, especially for someone with dry lips like me. But I prefer a matte finish, so I have way more of those than these. I just have 3 shades in these, and they're all kind of similar, like these cool toned pinks, all of them pretty much. The star of the show is going to be the Samarian Sunset palette from Adept Cosmetics, of course. Here is the gorgeous palette. Here is the outside. So pretty. Like so many other people, sunset tones have a hold on me. Very much. And this is not your average kind of color story either. It's pretty unique. I was initially not drawn to the last row of mattes here. It seemed kind of underwhelming to me, but now that I see it in person, it's pretty cute. These are the right kind of fall colors, and they're kind of toned down enough that they will work as a nice base for all the bright, shifty multichromes and holochromes. This is gorgeous. I can't seem to resist Adept. Adept is one of those brands that I just kind of have the urge to collect. And so far, whatever they've put out has been pretty great, not gonna lie. All zoomed in. So at first I thought I would do one look, one cohesive look, but there are so many very special shades in here, like things I've never seen, and I have a large multi-chrome collection. So I want to see as many of these as possible on the eyes, and that is why I'm going to do 2 different looks. And I hope that will be helpful to anyone looking to purchase this, because it is a pricey palette. The yellows and the oranges have my heart, so I'm gonna start with those. It says the best of both worlds on the mirror, and that only reminds me of Hannah Montana. That is beautiful. I hope Adept stepped up their game when it comes to their mattes, because the matte shadows in their La Cienega palette were not good. They were light shades and they weren't very pigmented. This one seems to be pretty cool. I don't think I have any complaints with this shade, at least. That made it a little bit more pink than I expected, but that's okay. The mattes don't need to be bright because our shimmers are definitely going to pack a punch. These are blending pretty well into each other, so that's good. This shade is one of the first ones I saw in this palette. It is beautiful. There are pinks in there, but this yellow-orange thingy, I got eyes only for this one. Oh wow, it's like a little fire on my eyes. Oh my, look at that. You know what? I should probably put the matte shade here because these could be topper shades and I don't want my skin to peek through. So I'm going to put some of this orange shade all over the lid because I hate it when you can see the skin through the topper shades. Okay, I think now it will look much better. Look at that. It's like fire. Like a little, what do you call it? Embers. Burning embers. Those glowing pieces of coal. I don't know what they're called, but embers. Yes. This one is another smooth multichrome. I can see red shifting to a greeny gold kind of situation. Absolutely beautiful. This one is more of a yellowy orange shimmer that shifts from a bright yellow to like a light orange, but the one I'm going to try now is more black based, I would say. So it's definitely deeper in the pan, looks reddish. Okay, so it has a lot of shine, but it's definitely a deeper base. I can tell that for sure. So pretty though. Definitely a little bit of a difference. If you are a multi-chrome enthusiast such as myself, you may be able to tell the difference, but to someone who doesn't really care about these things, these two could be kind of similar to their eye. Now this shade, this is like a gold green, definitely a gold green shift, but I see some larger particles in there, so that should be interesting. I'm going to pop it on right in the center because I have a feeling this will be a little chunkier, but also very high impact. I'm going to use my finger for this. Okay, that is gorgeous. On my finger, it seems very smooth, and when I touch it, it's really smooth, but I see those little particles, those glitters. That is so beautiful. I think you can see them if you apply it to a larger surface area. Very pretty. I'm blown away so far. This shade is a champagne with some pink sparkle in it, and I'm going to use this as an inner corner shade here because this is pretty much the only warm shade I see apart from the ones I already used here, so it's going to look nice. Plus I need to test another shade. Oh, that is beautiful. I don't think I have anything like that in my collection. I'm going to do swatches in just a moment so that I can see what they look like on a larger surface area, because these are turning out to be pretty unique. I am impressed. Let's move on to the second look, which is going to be a green and pink look, because we're left with the green mattes and the pink shimmers. So that should be interesting. I am not a fan of cool tone greens and warm tone greens together, but that's the option we have here. I hope it doesn't look too muddy. But then again, I'm not too bothered because the star of the show are, of course, the shimmers, not the mattes. Of course, I have to use the pink, which seems very putty-like in the pan and seems like a topper shade. This also has that fiery kind of shift, but it is more pink rather than orange. Very soft in the pan though. Moving around quite a bit. This is quite possibly the deepest red to green kind of shifting multichrome I've ever seen. Okay, it's not applying with a brush, so I'm going in with a finger. Look at that shift. At first I was wondering how this would look because they seem very cranberry magenta in the pan, but the shift is very much green and it goes. There's two of these shades. This one is a very deep cranberry and this one is more of a magenta. This one shifts a little bit more gold green and this one is more of a green than gold. I was very curious about the deeper one because that is pretty much the deepest version of this shade that I've ever seen. It is beautiful. So my plan here was to go from a lighter shade to the deeper cranberry shade, and in the center, to give it a pop, I'm going to use the holographic shade, which looks amazing. It's this one right here. It looks like those little stickers I used to put on my notebooks as a kid. So pretty. I'm just going to use a finger because at this point I've kind of lost faith in the brush application. This one is so wet in the pan. Let's pop one more on in the inner corner. This super sparkly one. Another topper shade, very sparkly yet very flaky. Very pretty. I think it would be best applied like all over the lid with a matte shade underneath. Very pretty. Here are both the finished looks. I literally do not know which one I like more. I think it looks very pretty, of course. The multi-chromes and now the hollows are what Adept's known for. And I think this is as excellent a palette as any of their previous ones. In fact, a little bit more so. Now I want to put something on the cheeks. I have the Valentina blush palette right here. This is new to me. I got this with the Samarian Sunset palette. I think they make a beautiful combo. I'm going to put the more warmer shade over here. This one in the center. Ooh, I think I went overboard, but I'm going to blend it out. This is a very dense brush. This is the Sephora Pro Foundation 47 brush. Clearly not the best choice, but I'm going to blend it out with another one. with this blush, you don't really need a highlighter. This is so glowy. So pretty. I'm going to just join it at the temple with the shadow. There we go. Very lovely. Now I have two other choices and I'm more inclined towards this one. This is very much a cranberry shade and it reminds me of this deeper kind of multi-chrome that I put on the outer corner. And I think both of these will go very nicely. Let's use a light hand this time. This is absolutely lovely. I prefer this over the Charlotte Tilbury Face Quad. The Lovegasm collection it was called, I think. That was also reddish glowy blushes, but this shade, it's so much prettier and has more depth. This is definitely warmer. This is more mauve. It does look a bit much, I can see on the camera LCD, but in real life it looks very seamless. Let's blend it a little bit more with a Sigma buffer brush. Let's buff everything in. Before I leave, I want to swatch a few of the shades from the Samarian Sunset palette that I didn't quite get the right feel for, like the inner corner shades or the two shades that I didn't get to try. So let's swatch some of those. So the shades I have swatched on my hand are this one, and this one sequentially. This one is Risa, this is Praxis, and this is Obsidian Order. Risa is kind of like one of those mermaid kind of shades, like a light green to a pink to a gold to a light blue, that kind of shade. Absolutely beautiful. So pretty. And very shifty. These two are black-based multi-chromes. This has more of a crimson cranberry to like a deep gold, like an antique gold, and this has more of a magenta to a green shift. But these are both deep black-based multi-chromes, and they are, in my opinion, sufficiently different to be of interest to a multi-chrome lover like myself. Because honestly, I don't like it when there are repetitive shades in a palette. And even though some people do get bored of these black-based multi-chromes that you see from pretty much every brand, I personally don't get bored of them. I really like jeweled kind of multi-chromes, like the whole jeweled multi-chrome line from Cleona Cosmetics. Huge fan, so I don't mind these black-based ones. Next, I'm going to swatch Farpoint and this one, MOGH. Farpoint was the champagne with pink sparkles in my inner corner highlight over here. And the MOGH one was my inner corner highlight here. It was flaky and sparkly, topper light kind of shade. This is Farpoint and this is MOGH. This MOGH shade, it looks like a sparkly champagne in the pan, but when you swatch it out, it has like a light blue green kind of shift. I actually thought most of these were going to be flaky ones, but these are more on the smooth side. This MOGH one is pretty much the only one I've come across that is a little bit flaky with particles, but the rest seem to be very smooth, which surprises me a little bit. But that's pretty much on par with what I've experienced with Adept, because the Seahorse palette that came out recently with all the pastel shades, I also did a video on that, and that one only had a few shades that were very flaky. The rest of them were pretty smooth. Here are the shifts. The shifts in these pigments are blowing my mind, so I swatched the rest of the 5 as well, because I wanted to make sure that how they show up on the lid was pretty much how they swatch, because I want to see the shifts. I am nuts about shifts. Okay. I feel like I have cheered up quite a bit. Just the shifty multi-chrome goodness. Oh yes. The first one I started with is this here, Trill. This is the one I applied to the inner 1/3 of my lid here. The one at the top is Trill. This is a very light pink, the kind of light pink that you see here in the pan, and it goes to gold to light green. Beautiful. It's like a very light, shiny version of the black-based multi-chrome that is Praxis right here. Then there is this shade right here. This is the gold that I applied right here in the center of the lid. Here is the one, LAL. This is very much a gorgeous gold with a kind of warm green shift, olivey green. Next we have this shade, USS Defiant. This is the third one here. This is a reddish orange that goes to a gold shift. Then we have this gorgeous shade that looks like a yellow in the pan, and it shifts to a light orange. Beautiful sparkly light orange. This is the one. You can see the light orange here. And last but not least, we have the holographic shade. Gorgeous silver, pure holographic goodness. Look at this. Here are the 5 swatches. Here is the final look. I think the foundation turned out just as I expected. It is on par with all of the luxury foundations that I have tried recently, the Valentina, the Tom Ford, the others. It does have a slight fragrance as well. And it does have that same kind of medium coverage, but it's not too matte like the Gucci foundation. So that's a plus. I think this is going to be another one of my favorites. The lipstick is kind of underwhelming, but this formula is actually good for my lips. The color could have been better. The blush palette, Valentina from Adept Cosmetics. Beautiful, gorgeous, pretty much what I was expecting. I have another one, I think it's called Stella, and I wanted some of these deeper berry tones, and that is exactly what I got, and I'm very happy with it. Now to the star of the show, the Samarian Sunset palette. This palette is a work of art. I am thoroughly impressed by this palette. If something is to be worth the high price tag, it should be this. This is special. I highly recommend this, and I don't mind having spent that money because I know the quality is there. Also, another thing that I love about this is that these are not your average multi-chromes. There are a few in here that are not the most common shades, like this one and this yellow one. These two are very unique to my collection. Even the others, high impact, smooth formula. I mean, I don't have enough good things to say. So it's a huge yes for me. That is it for this video. I do feel very pretty with this makeup on. I think the mission is accomplished. I wanted to review this palette, but I also wanted to cheer myself up by putting some makeup on, and I think mission accomplished. So I hope this gave you some information about whether or not to purchase the things that I mentioned in this video. And I'm hoping to be back in the groove of things as soon as possible and get back to making more interesting content. I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. There will be lots of interesting reviews coming and all sorts of makeup related content, so stay tuned and I will see you in my next video.